I have a story for you today that's a really unfortunate story, and it's been a difficult thing for us. But I hope that if nothing else, it'll be an interesting kind of peek behind the curtain of some of the things going on with podcasting and your data and you being tracked when you listen to shows like The David Pakman Show. So let's just get right into it. The David Pakman Show exists on a bunch of different platforms. Many of you know this. We do a video show, we do an audio show every day. The video show gets uploaded to YouTube and to Facebook. We send it to our television affiliates. Free Speech TV runs it on DirecTV and Dish Network. That's the video show. We also do an audio version, and that's distributed to a bunch of different radio stations. We also have it on Spotify. It's an audio podcast. We've had the audio podcast for many, many years. We work with a hosting company called Libsyn for our podcast files. So when you listen to our podcast, whether you're on iTunes or on Spotify or at davidpakman.com or whatever, the files themselves exist or they live on servers that this company called Libsyn runs. That's where the files are. Libsyn's a great company, and they're one of the reasons that the podcast has been able to scale the way that it has. One of the reasons we worked with Libsyn from the beginning was that they only charge you for storage space. They don't charge you for bandwidth, meaning that we pay the same amount no matter how many downloads we get. So when you consider that the podcast today is more than 10 times bigger than it was when we started with Libsyn, this is huge for us because we pay the same amount now for our hosting as we did 10 years ago when the show was only 10% the size that it is today. Now, as many of you also might know, one of the ways that the David Pakman Show makes money is by running advertisements. So sometimes at the end of a YouTube video, there will be an ad. Sometimes if you're listening to the podcast, there will be an ad between segments. These ads come from a bunch of different places, but one of the biggest relationships that we have for getting these ads on the show is with an ad agency called Midroll. We started working with Midroll years ago, and over time, Midroll has been acquired a couple of times by other companies. They're now part of the same company that owns the podcasting app Stitcher, and we've done a lot of advertising deals with them. Thankfully, they've brought us a significant amount of revenue. A lot of those ads that you see at the end of a YouTube video or that you hear on the podcast were brought to us by Midroll. This is a great thing. It's been a great relationship, but a couple of months ago, we were contacted by Midroll, and they said, listen, we want to transition you over to hosting your podcast with a company called Omny, O-M-N-Y. Now, before I even looked into this company, I thought it's a little weird for an ad agency to come in and say, hey, you need to change your podcast host if you want to continue working with us in the way that you've been working with us. And I said to them, well, hold on a second. I'm very happy with our current podcast host, Libsyn. I'm not inclined to change, but is this an ultimatum? Like, are you saying either I hire a different podcast host or you will cut off the money that we get from advertisements that you send us? Are you telling me that unless I change hosts, I will lose all ad revenue that we get from you? And we went back and forth for a little bit. And to make a long story short, yeah, that's the case. Unless we switch to this other company, Omny, to host our podcast, we will lose all of the revenue that we get by running the ads that Midroll has been bringing us. Now, before I even go any further, because we're not even talking about your data yet, we're going to get to that in a second. Before I go any further, this is already a very strong arm action to come in and say, unless you become the customer of this particular company, we're going to take away a whole bunch of money, particularly when it's money that's now part of our budget. We use the ad revenue to pay salaries and to buy equipment and for connectivity and all of the, rent, studio rent, all of that stuff. We abide by all of the guidelines that Midroll puts in place. We do all the right stuff. And now they're coming in and saying, hey, listen, you've got to go and become the customer of someone else if you want to keep getting any revenue from us. But that's only part one. It actually gets much worse. So I started looking into the sales pitch that we were being given about Omny. And I saw that one of the big selling points was that Omny would create or provide much better analytics about you, about our audience, which could then be used to sell ads and to target ads in a better way. Now, this raised a red flag for me And as I researched it more, I learned that the way Omni does this is via what's called a tracking pixel. Now, without getting into the technology, tracking pixels are used in a lot of different advertising contexts. It allows for your behavior to be tracked across the internet, often across devices, and to be used as part of the sales pitch to potential sponsors by Midroll. Now, I asked, is that opt-in for our audience? Is our audience consenting to be tracked in that way? And I was told, no, it is not. You, if I made the switch, would not have any say in being tracked in this way by Omni. Now, this is not illegal in the United States. It's questionable. But interestingly, as far as I can tell, this is illegal in Europe on the basis of the new GDPR guidelines that now exist. So listen, financially, I'm making the wrong decision here, but I am not going to bow to this bullying pressure, nor am I going to subject you to being tracked, which, while not illegal, I find immoral to just switch. There's no opt-in, and you're just being tracked in a different way by my podcast. I get it. We know that this is happening on Facebook. We know it's happening elsewhere, but I don't want that happening with my podcast. So the good news for you, in a sense, is that starting in January, you may be hearing fewer ads on the podcast. You will likely be seeing fewer ads at the end of YouTube videos because we are going to be ending our relationship with Midroll, or maybe better said, they are ending it with us because we're refusing to go ahead and hire the company that they want us to hire and to subject you to this tracking. But the good news is that we are going to be sticking with Libsyn for our podcast hosting. We absolutely love them. I'm confident that over the long run, this is the right decision, even if in the short run, it is financially problematic. If in the immediate you want to help, just grab a membership at joinpacman.com. As always, direct support makes us sort of immune to these types of strong arm tactics. And that's always the best thing to do. By the way, lots of the shows you likely listen, if this is the only political show you listen to, okay. If you listen to other lefty political shows, almost for sure, there are other shows that are dealing with this exact same pressure from Midroll, just as a heads up, and we'll see if any of them discuss it. Every show will make the decision that's best for them. And I think that even though it will be difficult for us, this is the right decision. Let me know what you think, a bit of a peek behind the curtain as to what's been going on.